Alright, now we are back live here for the 1997 Daytona 500, the 39th running of the Great American Race. Mike Skinner on Sunday pole qualifying is your pole sitter here for Daytona, and alongside him was Steve Grissom. Both of those guys locked themselves in with their qualifying times, while the guys behind them, Sterling Marlin and Terry Labonte, won their respective twin 125s to make the race. Then you see Ricky Rudd, Dave Marcus, Ward Burton, and Hut Strickland, Jeff Burton, and I believe that is Kenny Wallace in that 81. Here for your top 10. Further back, you see these four drivers: Ricky Craven, Darrell Waltrip, Blake Speed, Bill Elliott. Those four were involved in a vicious crash with Kyle Petty that left Kyle Petty sidelined, injured, and set up in a hospital for this weekend and for a few more weekends after this. These four drivers all in backup cars here. And Ricky Craven, yesterday in the Busch race here at Daytona, Craven suffered a nasty crash, including Ed Barrier, Mike McLaughlin, and others. All of those guys still in the hospital. Ricky Craven was cleared. They made sure he was the first one that would be cleared to go so he can run in the Daytona 500 here. But it is Mike Skinner and Steve Grissom somehow pulling off that unlikely front row here at Daytona. So with just over a minute before green, we are getting ready to hear the commands. But you see, there's 42 drivers all fighting to be yet another driver to win a Daytona 500. The question is, who will? Mike Skinner and Steve Grissom on row one. Grissom, he has not won a race in the Winston Cup Series in his career. Right now, he could have a chance by starting on this top row. I need to... These stupid graphics. So bad. Okay. Now we should be able to run. Nope, it's still 22 FPS, whatever. Mike Skinner and Steve Grissom on row one. The question is, which one of these 42 drivers will be able to win a Daytona 500? A lot of them have never won the Daytona 500, and only a few of them have. We're all looking for their first career Daytona 500 and possibly first career win here today in Florida. Let's go down trackside for the commands to fire the engines. And as the engines are now fired, you will see the starting grid roll off of pit road. There it is, the 31 and 41 on the front row with Marlin and Terry Labonte, all 42 drivers running here. The way that this mock season works is that every race, at least every Winston Cup race, will be live streamed. However, the tracks that we run are not necessarily from 1997 and around that time. I am using the best tracks with the best INI, the best racing that we could see for that year. This track, very, very good INI. There is not a lot of the Daytona Shuffle, which is why this track will be used for mostly all of the Daytona races you'll see on this channel and on the regular NSDCA channel. This track, it has a very good INI, very good drafting, very good racing, which we should see do good, even though it is not completely historically accurate. The cars are what we're worried about. Mike Skinner on the front row, Sterling Marlin and Ricky Rudd. There you see 4 and the 10 car starting 3rd and 5th. Those two were the drivers that pushed themselves the entire way into the duel, finishing 1st and 2nd. And then behind them, Ward Burton and Jeff Burton. Ward won the Busch Clash last Sunday as well by being pushed by Jeff Burton past teammate Mark Martin to win that race. Coming around, we're going to have 50 laps. It's a long and brutal day. We saw 40 laps in the Busch Clash. It was a huge disaster. A lot of drivers crashing, spinning. Turn 4 turned into mayhem, causing 4 drivers to go to the hospital, including Ricky Craven, who is in this race today. We have 42 drivers making up the Daytona 500. The top 30 were all locked in through either their pole times, which is Skinner and Grissom, or racing their way in. The rest of them got in on provisionals. Who will win? Coming down to the green flag here at Daytona. The 39th Daytona 500 is green. Mike Skinner leads us down, and we are racing here at Daytona. Skinner jumps out. Rudd and Burton now looking just under for a 3-wide move, but I don't think it's going to work. Mike Skinner in that 31, he's going to pull himself out to that early lead. Sterling Marlin back there in second, trying to get back down in front of Ricky Rudd. And now 3x3 a bit further back, but it will be Mike Skinner pulling himself into the race lead with Marlin in red right behind him. And coming down the back straightaway, a lot of flybys, and you see them all starting to get up to speed. 2 and 3 wide, everyone's swinging around, and now Sterling Marlin's going to have Ricky Rudd pushing him right up to that race lead. Ward Burton now gets right behind with Terry Labonte, Steve Grissom. Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin, the two Busch 125 or Twin 125 winners. And Mark Martin, you see in that 6 car further back, that Valvoline 6 car, he won the Busch race here yesterday. Sterling Marlin leads lap number 1 here at Daytona, 50 laps. In this race, we have 49 to go. Right now, it is all Sterling Marlin right here. He is making the move towards the front. Top 5 staying pretty calmly. There is Hut Strickland being pushed by Kenny Wallace. Hut Strickland and Kenny both underdogs that made the Daytona 500. Now they are very far up due to where they finished in their Twin 125s. Now Terry Labonte looking to the inside on Ward Burton. Ricky Rudd in that 10 car also on the outside, but 2x2, 3 wide a little further back. Earnhardt and Ken Schrader might have been getting a little piece of each other further back there. Now Terry Labonte moves himself up to second as Sterling Marlin maintains the race lead here at Daytona. All 42 cars still rushing down this front straightaway. And Kenny Wallace and Mark Martin, what a save by those two. They're going to merge right back up. Both of them were dead sideways, and they're even going to try to pick up some spots. Kenny Wallace and Mark Martin on the inside. Now they're making a move for the top 5 after almost destroying the field right away here at Daytona. And Terry Labonte now leads this field. You see all 42 cars bumping and banging, driving all down this back straightaway. Kenny Wallace almost spun it. He's now inside that top 5 with Mark Martin on his outside. That was a beautiful save by both of them. And now Terry Labonte out in front and Sterling Marlin all over the back of him, coming down the front straightaway. 3 laps in. Now we are on to lap number 4. Terry Labonte, your new leader here at Daytona. Mike Skinner in that 31, he's trying to make a move on that inside. He started this race on pole, trying to remain up front as he's battling Ward Burton. You see Kenny Wallace in that 81. In 6th, you see Dave Marcus up here in 8th. That 71 still fighting strong. And there are the 2 legends, defending champion Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. I think 1996 was Gordon's championship. And Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, 19 years he's tried. Today is his 19th try at the Daytona 500, and not one yet. He's won everywhere else except a Daytona 500. And right now they are still 2 and 3 wide. Look at John Andretti in that 98. In the same bloodline of Mario Andretti, the driver who won this back in, I believe, the 60s. And now the 98 car moving up front. Terry Labonte, okay. I don't know my history, guys. Terry Labonte out in front, your defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion, as I just got word from my spotters there. There is Sterling Marlin to the second, and Mark Martin. He won this Busch race. He won this Busch race yesterday, and now he is trying to double down. Can he win his first career Daytona 500? So he's moving himself up into that 3rd position. But Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin are going to be 2 drivers that are going to be hard to move out of the way. Further behind them, there is teammate Jeff Burton in that 99 for Roush Racing. In that 99 X-Side Batteries Ford, he is trying to work with Mark Martin. You see the field just getting kind of spread out. A lot of drivers further back. Let's take a look at the back half of the pack. Rusty Wallace's car has just been terrible all speed weeks. There's Lake Speed. He's in a backup car making his way forward. So is Darrell Waltrip. You also see Ricky Craven. He had a horrible crash in the Busch race yesterday, and he is back in this Hendrick number 25, but still not fully up to par. You'll probably see him struggling to get back up to the front, and if he can win this race, that'd be a feel-good story, especially with all those other drivers that were involved in that Turn 4 crash in the hospital right now. Steve Grissom also has fallen pretty far back, and now back up front, Terry Labonte. Now it could be under attack from Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, the Roush duo, coming up here. Their teammate Ted Musgrave, you see further back in that Family and Prime Star number 16, the blue, red, and yellow car on the outside of Jeff Gordon. That's the other Roush Racing driver. Now Terry Labonte out in front. Look at Hut Strickland kind of making a move, looking up on Mike Skinner. A little bit of side drafting there before side drafting was invented. And now Hut Strickland now down the back straightaway. He's trying to hold this inside line. Ricky Rudd now going to pull to the inside. Look at Jeff Gordon, the number 24. He's finished runner-up in the Daytona 500 twice in 19... I'm not even going to try with years. But Jeff Gordon, he has finished the Daytona 500 in second twice. Mark Martin right there now, all over the back of Texas Terry. Terry Labonte, the Hendrick team, it's huge. This is the team that has won the championship. This is a team that has such speed, and this is a team that already won a race this week here at Daytona. He won his Twin 125 against Jeff Gordon. You see, speaking of that Hendrick power, Jeff Gordon now up into the 8th position, charging his way towards the front here at Daytona after starting about 20th on the field. Now Dave Marcus tucks in behind him. There's Ted Musgrave, and all 42 cars still right together here at Daytona. The outside line now kind of getting left hung out to dry. Sterling Marlin going to fight back to the inside and try to get a run here on Texas Terry. 3 wide further back, Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett, the Robert Yates duo on that inside line a bit further back there. Jeremy Mayfield in that 37 now poking his head into the top 5 with help from Jeff Gordon. You see the field kind of just saying single file, 2 wide, mostly no 3 wide racing, and that's probably for the best. We saw 3 wide racing early in the Busch Clash and in the Busch race. Both times there were big wrecks that took out some drivers. Sterling Marlin now has Jeff Burton pushing him. Burton ducks down. Martin tried to go with him. He has Mayfield down there, but he's going to push Mayfield down to the bottom of the track anyway to try to get right up behind Jeff. Not going to happen there. There's the other Roush car, Ted Musgrave in that 16, starting to make his charge towards the front. Mike Skinner, Dave Marcus now side by side back there for that 8th position. 3 ride, John Andretti, Robbie Gordon, and Ward Burton right there. Jeff Gordon now is going to move Jeremy Mayfield off the inside line. That puts Jeff Gordon up into the 5th position. And Brett Bodine into the wall. Big crash further back. Bodine goes around. John Andretti's in it. And a lot of cars spin through the tri-oval. Jeff Bodine, Bobby Labonte, Johnny Benson Jr., Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt's in it, John Andretti. A lot of cars torn up there as they race back to the line. Terry Labonte has led most of this race, and now he's going to be able to probably lead it back around, possibly having Jeff Gordon just sit right behind him. Ted Musgrave, Mark Martin made a little bit of contact, but now it's going to be a Hendrick 1-2 coming off of the corner here, and down the front straightaway here on lap number 10. Terry Labonte leads us down, Gordon second, and that is that right there. Terry Labonte leads us back to the line. Ernie Irvin a little further back there, so we'll go ahead. Hopefully these guys can get back single file pretty easily without wrecking each other like Mayfield and Burton almost just did. And we will go ahead and take a look at what happened there. Dale Jarrett with damage. Joe Nemechek has damage. Bobby Labonte, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt might have just been spun around. John Andretti, Johnny Benson Jr., heavy rear end damage. Brett Bodine was in it. Rusty Wallace has been falling off the pack. That's good for him. Looks like a lot of cars still maintaining the same thing, so that's good for them. Let's go ahead and look. We might have some pit stops here, so that'll be something. We'll go ahead, and you can see where your favorite driver is running in the field right now. As we have a lot of damaged cars, and now slowing down the Daytona 500. 1/5 of the way into this, lap number 10 was that big spin, so everyone's going to go ahead and get back right together. Loy Allen Jr. has some front-end damage as well from that. Big pile up in the back. Johnny Benson runs right into the back, and they're all going to stack in. Brett Bodine goes on his roof and over. No brakes. ARCA brakes here. And that's a big hit. That's going to take out Joe Nemechek, Dale Jarrett, Bodine, Earnhardt with even more damage. So great job there by those guys not knowing how to brake. Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon lead us down pit road. Dave Marcus, strategy on Dave Marcus and Steve Grissom. They are going to stay out here at Daytona. And you see Dave Marcus stays out on track. Steve Grissom as well. Everyone else comes down pit road. And those two remain out on the track. Interesting move there. Johnny Benson Jr. is going to run right back into Rusty Wallace, so I think he should be parked. Jeez, he's ran into 2 people. But Dave Marcus now out in front and second. Steve Grissom, those 2 drivers maintain the race lead. They will play that strategy here. You see, wow, that is some lag, but there they are now on pit road. Pit road's going to be a busy place with a lot of drivers possibly hitting each other coming out. But Jeff Gordon, it looks like Gordon is going to be the first car out. No, Mike Skinner beats him out. Gordon second, Burton third, Mayfield 4th, Marlin 5th, Ted Musgrave 6th, Ward Burton 7th, Ricky Rudd 8th, Hut Strickland 9th, and Kenny Wallace 10th coming out here. Johnny Benson Jr., Darrell Waltrip contact on pit road there, and he runs right into the back of Ricky Craven, so that's heartbreak for that 17 car. We'll go ahead and get some replays here of that big crash on the front stretch. as these guys all took their pit stops right now. So a lot of cars. Bobby Labonte's not going to be able to make it back around. He is out of this now. So we'll go ahead, rack him, stack him back up. Let's go ahead and get a replay here to see what happened here on lap number 10, the 39th Daytona 500. Oh, jeez. Where was it? Okay, so coming through the tri-oval, Brett Bodine is going to get hit by Ernie Irvan right there. They're going to go down the track in the tri-oval. They hit the apron, but the 11 now is going to spin, and there he goes. He loses all his grip, and he's going to spin right back up into the pack. Johnny Benson Jr. goes wide, gets up into the wall there to try to get around him. Then Brett Bodine just runs right in. You see Dale Jarrett and Joe Nemechek hitting each other. Johnny Benson Jr. already spinning. Bobby Labonte gets into Bill Elliott. There's Brett Bodine. Johnny Benson Jr. gets run into there. Dale Earnhardt trying to make his way through, and a lot of cars just go spinning down the front straightaway here. See, great job by Grissom, Waltrip. They all get around it. Johnny Benson Jr. goes spinning. Ricky Craven, if I can get the Dale there. There's Dale Earnhardt spinning. And a lot of cars just spinning around, so not too much damage there. The big damage was when they all stacked it up trying to get lined back up. We will hopefully have that fixed for a later race. But a lot of cars go spinning there. Let's get a few onboards here at Daytona. We're going to look out the back bumper of Kenny Wallace here, and you see Brett Bodine and Ernie Irvan just take it to the inside, and the rest of the field just piles right on in. You see them all trying to spin out of the way to get through it, but a big crash here. Daytona, the whole front straightaway, just a field of smoke. Great job by everyone merging back up to get through. We'll get another replay on onboard Dale Earnhardt, if I can. Bad thing about streaming is that you don't get to do your cool camera angles on board here with Dale Earnhardt. And now you see the two drivers just get together up front. Few cars bounce off of the wall, and they all just kind of stack it on in. Bobby Labonte, he almost made it through. Then he gets hit right at the end by, I think, Johnny Andretti, and goes spinning down the front straightaway. You see Lake Speed just misses him. There's Johnny Andretti right there together. That's a lot of drivers spinning around, so we'll go ahead and get one more action shot here. Get you guys back to the green flag at the Daytona 500. So we are under caution for a major incident here. Brett Bodine and Ernie Irvan turn each other and into the wall. A lot of people go. They scatter down the front straightaway. Great wreck avoidance by a few drivers, but Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett most likely out of this running for the Daytona 500. Big crash puts us under caution. We'll go ahead and get you guys back to the green flag here at Daytona. All right, coming to the one to go. Dave Marcus and Steve Grissom stayed out on track. These two are going to be leading us down, and Dave Marcus will lead here at Daytona. Back in third, Mike Skinner. Fourth, Jeff Gordon. And fifth, Jeff Burton. In sixth, Jeremy Mayfield. Seventh, Sterling Marlin. Eighth, Ted Musgrave. Ninth, Ward Burton. And 10th is Ricky Rudd. In 11th, Hut Strickland. 12th, Kenny Wallace. 13th, Terry Labonte. 14th, Bobby Hamilton. And 15th, Mark Martin. Ernie Irvan, 16th. Rick Mass, 17th. Robbie Gordon, 18th. 19th, Morgan Shepherd. 20th, Jimmy Spencer. 21st is Bobby Hillen Jr. 22nd, Robert Presley. 23rd, Dick Trickle. 24th is Michael Waltrip. And 25th, Roy Allen Jr. 26th, Derek Cope. 27th, Greg Sachs. 28th, Bill Elliott. 29th, Wally Dallenbach Jr. 30th, Ricky Craven. And 31st, Ken Schrader. 32nd, Lake Speed. 33rd, Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip still on pit road. And you see Dale Earnhardt retires from the Daytona 500 as well. It's Johnny Benson Jr., Brett Bodine, Dale Jarrett, Johnny Andretti, Jeff Bodine, Bobby Labonte, and Joe Nemechek. So already 14 laps in. The big one strikes pretty early. The question is, we still have a lot of drivers left. 33 on track with Darrell Waltrip, who could come back out at any time. We have 34 drivers still in the hunt for this race. That's enough to cause another big one, especially on that front straightaway or turn 4, the two trouble turns on the track. Dave Marcus, the old man out in front, him and Morgan Shepherd, two of the oldest drivers in the field. They Both are still running, but Dave is in the race. Lead Steve Grissom, your outside pole sitter, in second, and pole sitter Mike Skinner in third. Jeff Gordon fourth, and Jeff Burton fifth. We will go back green with 15 laps in, and that will be a 36 lap to go. So now the 71 down the front straightaway. Dave Marcus as well with them. These two did not pit, so they will be on a different pit cycle and close. The fuel window is only about 20 laps here at Daytona, and that will cut it very close. Coming back to the restart zone, green flag is back in the air. And now Mike Skinner, he is going to be the first one to jump to the inside. Ernie Irvin as well, Robbie Gordon and Dick Trickle. You see Mayfield and Marlin going. Marlin's going to go all the way to the inside of Mayfield for 3 wide. Mike Skinner now takes second position away from Steve Grissom. Jeff Gordon ducks down with him. And coming off the corner, a lot of drivers are going to be getting up to speed. It's going to take about a lap for these guys to reach their 195 miles per hour that they were doing earlier on in this race. So we'll see what will happen once we get back up to speed. Hut Strickland pretty close on Terry Labonte there. They are really just going around this back straightaway, but Dick Trickle. Dave Marcus in that 71 now going to get pushed by Jeff Gordon. You see Sterling Marlin, Ted Musgrave as well coming down the front straightaway. Steve Grissom pulls himself onto pit road, so Grissom gets out of the way. Steve is now has to go down and pit, so that means Dave Marcus will shortly. That gives Jeff Gordon now the new race lead, and the field now stacked right together as Steve Grissom pulled his way down pit road. Jeff Gordon in that 24 on up front now. Ted Musgrave being pushed by the Busch Clash winner. Ward Burton is the top 5. Top 6 have pulled away. Jeremy Mayfield back there in the no man's land of 7th, and you see that big pack of cars that will be rushing up on that front group here shortly. And you see Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Jeff Burton lead that charge. 3 very strong super speedway drivers, as well as Mark Martin. You see Robbie Gordon in that 40 bringing himself up. And where did Jimmy Spencer come from? All these pit stops are now giving a lot of drivers some track position. That's Jimmy Spencer now up into a battle inside the top 20 with Dick Trickle, Kenny Wallace, and Morgan Shepherd. A bunch of underdogs right there. Dave Marcus remains on the track, but the top 5 now going to try to get single file. If Sterling Marlin would get down on the inside, those guys could really pull away from that second pack. There you see Steve Grissom is going to be coming back on track. The question is, will he merge right in front of everyone? Let's hope he won't, and I don't think he will. He will have enough time to get at least back on the track, so that's good for him. Won't cause too much of a crash here going through the corner. Ricky Rudd now, though, will have to dive to the outside. Jeff Burton's going to carry all the momentum around on the outside. He gets around Steve Grissom, but Grissom not being a damaged car means that he won't lose them too much time. He will just be another drafting partner. But the top 6 now, Gordon, Ward Burton, Ted Musgrave, Sterling Marlin, Mike Skinner, and Jeremy Mayfield have launched away from that second pack. Darrell Waltrip still on pit. No, Darrell Waltrip is back out on track. He is, I believe, 2 laps down. No, only 1 lap down, so he and Grissom will be fighting for position. There you see the top 6 pulling away, and further back, the bigger pack, 3 and 4 wide down the back straightaway. And this pack, if there's going to be a caution, it's going to come right here, right in the middle of it. All these guys, a few younger drivers who haven't been at Daytona as long as some of these older guys. And you'll see some mistakes there. There's your 1990 Daytona 500 winner, Derek Cope, in that 36 Skittles Pontiac Grand Prix. He is struggling in the back, but he got in on his past Daytona winner provisional. There's Terry Labonte now. After those pit stops, he lost a lot of time, and now he's stuck on the outside. Terry now out of the top 20. Drivers pushing real close down there, but he's now behind Steve Grissom and Mark Martin as that front group in this pack now starting to pull away. It is a 4-second gap from this pack up to this other pack. There is Dave Marcus coming into the corner. Sends them all very wide. And now Jeff Gordon has Ward Burton all over the back of him here at Daytona. Sterling Marlin, Ted Musgrave battle for that 3rd position, with Mike Skinner and Jeremy Mayfield battling for the 5th position. Ted Musgrave back there in 4th. Mayfield 5th. Mike Skinner 6th. These 6 cars, if they can just stay nose to tail, they can stay way ahead of this second pack. And they are doing that anyway. They gained 7/10 of a second. They put 7/10 of a second between them and the second pack just because these guys are too big to start squabbling. You see them going 2 and 3 wide. if they just go single file out, like a few of these drivers are trying to do, they could fly up on that front pack in a hurry. But no. There's Darrell Waltrip, and now Sterling Marlin for Morgan McClure Racing. He's going to make a move for that second position. We'll go ahead and shoot an onboard here with that Ford car as he's chasing down Jeff Gordon, your Daytona 500 leader right now. 20 of 50 laps in. We still have 30 to go this time by. And Marlin, he's going to tuck right back up behind Jeff Gordon. We're going to look out the back bumper of Gordon as Ted Musgrave and Jeremy Mayfield now pushing on that inside line. Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton on the outside, no push there, but Ted Musgrave for Roush Racing now being pushed. Mayfield Skinner is there as well, and they're all battling behind. This looks just like the Busch race yesterday. It was a 5-car battle for the race win between 3 Cup drivers in this field and 2 Busch veterans. Of course, it was Mark Martin winning over Tim Steele in that race. Now Ted Musgrave, you see he lost some momentum there, so now he has no one pushing him. He just has to sit right behind Jeff Gordon. Top 6 pulling away as you see Dave Marcus is now going to lead that second pack unless they abandon him. Burton, Gordon, Rudd, and Bobby Hamilton all there in that. Mark Martin bringing Ricky Craven, Bill Elliott right on up. There's Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte pretty far back, Ernie Irvin, Michael Waltrip, Bobby Hill, and Greg Sachs, Lake Speed. All of these drivers still fighting. They still have a chance to win this 500, but they really need to start catching this front pack, who now have almost the full straightaway on them here going around Daytona. Ted Musgrave now jumps to the inside. Roush versus Hendrick, 2 powerhouses right now. And now Ted Musgrave down to the inside. The RCR power of Mike Skinner coming behind him as they go 2 by 2, 3 rows deep there. Marlin ducks back to the inside. Gordon leads that lap. 22 laps in, Skinner and Ward Burton now jumping down to the inside, and you see Ted Musgrave. He's trying to get the help from a Mayfield. No one is up there helping Jeff Gordon. Ted Musgrave now getting Mike Skinner and Ward Burton to push him with Sterling Marlin. If they can continue that, they should be able to charge right by Gordon. But no, Skinner wants to lead himself. He ducks to the inside with Ward Burton and Sterling Marlin. Now they could be 3 wide. Mike Skinner abandons Ted Musgrave. They go 3 wide into the corner up here, and that's going to be Mike Skinner back to the point here at Daytona. Ward Burton moving up to second, trying to win 2 races in his first 3 this season. He did not win his Twin 125, but he won the Busch Clash, and right now he is fighting Mike Skinner out in front. Ward Burton second. Marlin now fights for third with Ted Musgrave as Mayfield and Gordon push both of them. That is the battle. Jeff Gordon, probably the biggest threat to win this. As we said, he's finished second in the Daytona 500 twice. Right now he's in that top 6, one of the best cars out of these 6 in practice, except for Mike Skinner, of course, your pole sitter. But these guys nose to tail now. Ward Burton's going to have Sterling Marlin push him down to the inside of Skinner for that race lead, and that will be Ward Burton's chance to take the lead here at Daytona. There's Darrell Waltrip, a slower car coming, and there's Rusty Wallace. Wallace is actually the slowest car, so Wallace really struggling today. There's 6 cars. Loy Allen Jr., Derek Coe, Put Strickland, Ken Schrader, Robert Presley, Wally Dallenbach, not the fastest group right there. And the rest of them now starting to get a little more calm, a little more single-file racing, but they still cannot catch that front group, still running 2 by 2. All 30 of these drivers basically have to go single-file to even catch them. And you see that front pack has now left them by about 5.5 seconds. So it looks like the Daytona 500 might be settled between 6 drivers, but still, we do have a while left. There's going to be at least one more pit stop cycle, as we said, about 20 laps, 17, 18 to 20 laps is your fuel window. And you see Ted Musgrave diving down, so the pit stops will happen again earlier on this time. So it looks like about a 15 laps from Ted Musgrave's pit stop to now. He's going to be the first one diving in all alone. No one else jumps down with him, not even further back. So it looks like Ted trying to short pit this race holds up Jeff Gordon and Jeremy Mayfield from this battle. So now Marlin, Mike Skinner, and Ward Burton battle 1, 2, and 3. There is Darrell Waltrip. He's going to go 2 laps down now as they go. And Mike Skinner now going to jump right up in front of Ward Burton. You see the distance. There's the top 5, and that hard-charging pack further back's trying to catch up. And now Mike Skinner, he's going to look to the outside of Waltrip. They're trying to pass him. Skinner goes all the way up. Marlin staying down. Ward Burton staying down. And it looks like they are going to now bring themselves down pit road. Skinner stays out. Gordon, Mayfield all stay out, but they bring him on down pit road now. Coming on down to the service of their crews, these two coming in, drafting together, and a big portion of that second pack now going to come on in. You know, pit road was pretty busy under caution. We're not going to have as many drivers on pit road this time, but still, it's going to be pretty busy. We'll see who will take tires, who will take fuel, because fuel might be the strategy here just to win this race. You can see further back this field now going to definitely be separated from each other as Mike Skinner leads over Gordon, Mayfield, Martin, and Rudd, your top five. The next group of cars should be coming on down pit road. Gordon with a full head of steam on Mike Skinner. Really coming hard. Look at that 24 in his closing speed, but he will duck down with Mike Skinner. Jeremy Mayfield also going to come on down. Mark Martin bring it on down as well. So the second major group of pit cycling going through. Dave Marcus stays out. Of course, him and Steve Grissom right there, both on different fuel strategies. Wally Dallenbach still on pit road, so looks like problems with that 46. As everyone else is going to come on down pit road, it looks like everyone will have cycled through pit stops. Wally Dallenbach still on pit road, but you see they are going to come back out. There is Sterling Marlin. There's Ward Burton. Ted Musgrave. We thought without drafting help he'd be screwed, but look at that. Marlin and Ward Burton right there. Musgrave's not too far behind them to get back up there and battle for this win. There's Terry Labonte. Dick Trickle could be in a battle for the Daytona 500. Dave Marcus clears a lot of them. Steve Grissom as well. Let's see, anyone who really lost a lot? No, Gordon will be the first one coming on out, but there you see the second group of cars, if we can get back to him. There is Sterling Marlin just rushing on by here on lap 28 of 50. He will be the driver fighting for that race lead as they come around, and if he can clear Jeff Gordon, that'll be the race lead back to Sterling Marlin. Musgrave and Ward Burton side by side, but Marlin down the back straightaway. There you see the distance. He just has to clear Jeff Gordon. Mayfield and Mike Skinner there as well. So it looks like the top six are going to remain the top six here and could remain in the same pack as long as they are able to get back together. Gordon with no help. Marlin now clears Mike Skinner. Marlin will have a bit more momentum. You also see Ted Musgrave and Ward Burton coming. Mike Skinner goes up and almost destroys those three. And there's Mayfield. Mayfield might not be able to get back up without help. The top five now will be able to go back into their battle here for this race win. Now let's take a look at that pack further back. As we had those pit stops further back, the leaders of the second pack, Martin, Bobby Hamilton, and Jeff Burton. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th, with Terry Labonte sitting 10th. Dave Marcus now up to the 11th position with his strategy, but he's going to have to come in about another 5 to 10 laps. And up front, it looked like there is, yes, Darrell Waltrip coming back out after his pit stops. Ted Musgrave now making the move for the race lead on Gordon and Sterling Marlin. Ted Musgrave for the lead of the Daytona 500 with Skinner and Ward Burton now pushing them right on up. We now have 20 laps to go this time by in the Daytona 500, or next time by in the Daytona 500. And as Ted Musgrave leads, it is not Morgan Shepherd, the Morgan McClure 4 car of Sterling Marlin on the outside with Jeff Gordon, Ward Burton, Mike Skinner on the inside. Further back, Mayfield has no help except for Darrell Waltrip. There is Mark Martin, Bobby Hamilton, and Jeff Burton. You also see Dave Marcus, Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, Robbie Gordon, and Dick Trickle up here, as well as Morgan Shepherd. There's Ernie Irvin falling towards the back. Lake Speed has been having a troubling speed weeks. Greg Sachs pretty far back. Derek Cope, fluke 1990 win. There is Steve Grissom now on pit road as the top 5 continues to do battle. Sterling Marlin on the outside with Ward Burton's help is possibly pushing himself into the race lead. Sterling Marlin, he won his Twin 125, and it wasn't a joke. He had Ricky Rudd pushing him the entire way, and Sterling Marlin, the 1993 and 94 Daytona 500 champions, he knows how to make his way around the Daytona International Speedway. You see Jeff Gordon now going to be hung out to dry on the inside line, but still he's staying right there with Sterling, trying to slow that outside line down, but it's Ted Musgrave in command of the Daytona 500 right now. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break while looking out the back at Ted Musgrave. We'll get you guys back to the action here in just a few minutes. And as the battle for the lead goes now, Jeff Gordon with pushing from Ward Burton and Mike Skinner on the inside with Ted Musgrave and Marlin on the outside. It's going to be Jeff Gordon back into the lead of the Daytona 500, looking for his first 500 as we have just under 18 laps to go. That does mean we will see at least one more pit cycle through this, as pit stops are very important here at Daytona. The question is, who will try a real big strategy? Who will try to save? A lot of these guys further back, Hut Strickland, Robert Presley, they could easily just drop down and push each other, save the fuel in the draft. These guys further back, there's nothing much to lose here. But the Daytona 500, one of the special races in the NASCAR Winston Cup schedule. As you see, Jeremy Mayfield has now been caught by Mark Martin, Bobby Hamilton, and Jeff Burton back there for that 6th position. Mark Martin and Jeff Burton. Martin trying to sweep the weekend at Daytona, something no one else has done yet in the Daytona history. But now Jeff Gordon remains in the lead. Ted Musgrave second. Back in third is the battle between Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton, and as well as Mike Skinner back there in fifth. If this is a 5-car battle to the win, it better be exciting, because we saw in the Busch race a 5-car battle where Mark Martin led the final 8 laps to claim his Daytona 500, his Daytona victory. Ward Burton with no help on the inside. Everyone went to the outside. That leaves Mike Skinner now hung out to dry, but those two side by side is losing them from that top 3 battle. You see, we'll go ahead and have a flyby. There is the top 5 going through the corner. And here is 6th through 9th and the rest of the field coming. 6th through 9th stay in single file. That could help them try to catch back up. But everyone else a little too spread out, or not enough cars to be able to hold on and really catch on up. But it looks like the Daytona 500, it might go green the rest of the way. There's going to have to be some wild pit stop antics for this to not go green all the way, and for those top 5 to not be the 5 battling for this win if the strategy works. There is Dave Marcus. He now took himself down pit road. The top 5 now getting single file. They are going to ride this thing out till pit stops. But Sterling Marlin looking to the outside. Ted Musgrave in that 16. He's still there in that 3rd position. Can Ted win this race? You see Rusty Wallace, the lap car now. Rusty will be being caught by them. And now Sterling Marlin jumps to the inside. Everyone abandons Gordon on that outside line. Marlin trying to get the momentum to the inside. Wallace goes up the track. The question is, where will they catch Wallace? They'll catch him right there. And now Marlin to the race lead. Musgrave is going to clear Wallace. Gordon's going to get held up by Rusty. Ward Burton is going to do something with Rusty there, but Rusty now blocks the field. Marlin pulls away. Musgrave second, and now Burton and Skinner will have to mount the charge on the inside trying to get around Rusty. As now they go 3 wide. Jeff Gordon will have to jump in right behind Skinner after these guys go around him so he does not lose the draft for this battle for the win. Now you see Jeff, it looks like he will be able to get to the inside of Rusty, clears him. So lap traffic going to start playing a factor. There you see Hut Strickland and Robert Presley. They will be the next 2 as they're heading in through turns 1 and 2. And it is Sterling Marlin out in front with Ted Musgrave second, Ward Burton third, Skinner fourth. Gordon now drops to 5th, pretty far back. That might be what this group of 4 needed, but they are battling. So it looks like these guys know that they'll have to play some strategy to get up front. Question is, will people just take fuel only? Will people take tires? Can you take fuel only in these closing laps just to win the Daytona 500? And how much fuel do you need? Those crew chiefs will be working extra hard as Ted Musgrave now jumps to the inside on Sterling Marlin for the race lead. Ted Musgrave, he has had a less than eventful, less than stellar Roush career. However, a Daytona 500 could really show that he deserves this 16 ride. Keep saying Morgan Shepherd. Sterling Marlin jumps to the outside. Ward Burton diving all the way to the inside in that 22, as well as Mike Skinner and Jeff Gordon now 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Rusty Wallace will now be caught by Mark Martin, Jeremy Mayfield, and them, and they did catch just a little bit, a few tenths they gained as these guys were battling with Rusty Wallace. You see the distance to Hut Strickland and Robert Presley is just about the back straightaway as Marlin now jumps back to the inside on Ted Musgrave. Jeff Gordon back there in that 24 as well. Ward Burton could be the factor that Jeff needs to get to the front, because Ward likes working with Jeff, as we've seen him racing in these packs right now, getting Jeff back up to the race lead. But now it is Sterling Marlin in the race lead. Coming around 12 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Who's going to win it? Place your bets now. We'll see who will be who will be kissing that Daytona 500 trophy coming in just about 12 minutes. Ted Musgrave into second, but Jeff Gordon in third. Let's just talk about Jeff. As we said, 2 2 runner-ups to the Daytona 500. In the last 4 years, he's had 3 top 3 finishes, 2 second places, 1 third place, and last season he wrecked out early in the Daytona 500. However, this time around, he's looking to win it. Back there in third, he just has to wait patiently. He has to hope his Rainbow Warriors and that pit crew can get him out first and get him enough of a gap that he could be able to just block his way to a Daytona 500 victory. Sterling Marlin, though, looking for his 3rd Daytona 500 victory in just this decade, this Ford team. Morgan McClure Racing. This is one of the best drivers they've ever had in this Ford car. 2 Daytona 500 wins. He's had multiple wins other than that. Right now, he's looking, if he can win this race, then he just has to look for a championship this year. Gordon now jumps to the inside with Ward Burton. Those two are going to push their way to the race lead. Ward Burton almost abandons Jeff for Sterling, thinks better of it, dives back to the inside. Take a look one last time through the field. No, Mike Skinner's going up the track. That might mean these guys are going to be coming into pit. And yes, they will. Ward Burton, Sterling Marlin, Ted Musgrave leave Gordon hung out to dry. And now the final round of pit stops are going to come in here. This is where those spots will be gained. This is where you could win a Daytona 500. Everyone bringing themselves down pit road. You see Burton and Hamilton as well. Robbie Gordon, Terry Labonte stay out. So what would be better? A less crowded pit road so you don't get damage, and you see everyone going to work on those right sides. So possible 2 to 4 tire pit stops, and a lot of drivers taking tires. Will anyone just go fuel only 2 tire stops for Marlin and Musgrave? Ward Burton will lead us back out, and Ward Burton brings them back on out. Ricky Rudd goes right out into traffic, and there you see Jeff Gordon. He will now bring that 24 down pit road, but Mike Skinner staying out. Skinner playing some strategy, waiting just a little bit. Now, do Dave Marcus and the 41 of what's his name? Do Dave Marcus and the 41 both have enough fuel to make it to the end? Is the question there. Steve Grissom in the 41. But coming back out, we'll see Ward Burton, Marlin, and Musgrave. They pull away from Burton and Hamilton, so still, it looks like it could be just a 5-car battle for this win. Mike Skinner still has to bring himself around to his pit stop. There is Jeff Gordon now on pit road. The 24 will be bringing it back out. He has a very big lead over everyone else coming off of pit road, so it looks like he'll be alone again. You also see, though, there's Robert Presley, Hut Strickland, 2 lap cars that will be right ahead of Gordon when they get out on track, so he might have some drafting help if he can remain in front. Mark Martin flipped over on pit road by Ricky Craven getting into his pit box. Kenny Schrader has heavy damage from pit road, so pit road still being a problem for drivers. But now coming through the corner, Ward Burton over Sterling Marlin, Ted Musgrave, those two very slow. Ward Burton now has to try to beat Gordon out. There is Jeff Gordon. And now down the back straightaway, Jeff Gordon will lead the field back around. There you see Ward Burton 2nd, Marlin 3rd, Ted Musgrave 4th. Where is Mike Skinner? Skinner, I believe, is still on pit road. Where is Mike Skinner? Did I skip him? Is he not? Oh, there he is. Okay, Mike Skinner bringing himself back out. You see the distance over Gordon. I don't think he has the time. You also see further back. Ward Burton has caught Gordon as Robert Presley slowed him up. You also need Ted Musgrave and that 4 of Sterling Marlin to get up in the battle. There they go. They're going to blast past Mike Skinner, and that looks like that's Skinner's Daytona 500 hopes in the books. Jeff Gordon now out in front, 4 wide down the back straightaway trying to clear the lap car. Musgrave and Marlin will clear him. Ward Burton's going to be in this 4-car battle for the race win. Mike Skinner's gone. You see further back, Jimmy Spencer is a lap down. Never mind. Mark Martin, he is back on track after flipping over. Very far back in the field, though. He's down pit road now. But now the question is, can the young gun, the young kid, Jeff Gordon, win the Daytona 500, or can 2-time Daytona 500 champion Sterling Marlin do it? You also have Ted Musgrave and Ward Burton looking for their first as well. This could be a historic day. Coming around here at Daytona, Sterling Marlin all over the back of him. He's going to look to the inside. Just getting his nose down there. Keep that engine cool while you're stuck behind him in that dirty air. We have, coming around to 6 laps to go, it's a 4-car battle. You see Hut Strickland in that 8. He will be a lap car factor as well. Ward Burton, Ted Musgrave, Sterling Marlin. Do they have to work together to get around Jeff Gordon? Ted almost took it to the inside. He goes against it. Jeff Gordon, now Sterling Marlin, going to get held up by Hut Strickland just barely. They're going to take him 3 wide. Ted Musgrave is going to be held up by him. And now Marlin and Ward Burton will have to be the two to push him, as Ted Musgrave might just have gotten his Daytona 500. Yes, he does. Hut Strickland goes down and blocks him again. So Musgrave might have just lost his Daytona 500 hopes because he cannot get around that 8 car. You see the 1990 Daytona 500 champion, Sterling Marlin, or not Sterling Marlin, Derek Cope in that 36 car. You also see Wally Dallenbach, Loy Allen Jr., Michael Waltrip, a big pack of cars up there. If these guys can catch them, they are fast enough to. And Ted Musgrave, you see he has lost the draft almost. It could be just a 3-car battle, and I don't think they'd be able to have enough momentum to get around Jeff Gordon. Coming around 5 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Marlin has Ward Burton all over the back of him. Ted Musgrave in that 16 trying to get up there, but Jeff Gordon out in front. Marlin and Ward Burton will have to work together to get around Gordon. There is Derek Cope. The question is, will they catch him? And if they do, will he do the same thing that he's done, that the lap cars have done to Ted Musgrave and Mike Skinner, and taking them out of a chance at the Daytona 500? Ted Musgrave, he just has to remain in the draft. He needs these front 3 to start battling for him to be able to definitely catch back up and be a factor in this. Marlin in second. Car is smoking. That is Bobby Hillin Jr., his day done late here in the Daytona 500. He pulls it down to pit road, no caution. Jeff Gordon leads 4 to go in the Daytona 500. There is Cope. Look at them. Marlin and Ward Burton. I think Marlin used that to test if Ward would go with him, and it looks like he said yes. Gordon now jumps to the outside of him. He's going to get slowed up. Marlin gets slowed up by Derek Cope once again, and the lap cars are going to be the deciding factor here. Derek Cope, the moving roadblock, is just all over Sterling Marlin. Get out of the way. And now Ted Musgrave is going to jump Ward Burton. He dives to the inside of Derek Cope, almost hits him, and they go. They spin into the wall. Ted Musgrave into the wall. That most likely will be the end of the Daytona 500. They're going to come around to the caution flag. Jeff Gordon is your Daytona 500 champion. Musgrave turned, trying to get under Derek Cope, and they go around Cope. That could be a penalty on Derek Cope's part for just being a roadblock. And now Ted Musgrave, will he beat them to the line? I think he might have beat Ricky Rudd, but Musgrave's day and his Daytona 500 hopes, you have to do whatever you can for a Daytona 500, and he tried so hard and was not able to clear Derek Cope. But it looks like Jeff Gordon will be able to win as long as he can survive these last 2 laps. Ward Burton second, Sterling Marlin third, in 4th Mayfield, 5th Burton, 6th Mike Skinner, 7th Bobby Hamilton, 8th Ted Musgrave, 9th Ricky Rudd, 10th Robbie Gordon. And there's Terry Labonte after a great Daytona 500 start. He will finish 11th. But let's go ahead. Let's make sure no one is going to run out of fuel. I don't think they should. And as they come around here, we just got to make sure. So coming through the corner, Jeff Gordon is going to lead. If they pit, that would be the most stupid idea you could ever see in the history of the Daytona 500. I don't think any of them will pit. No one goes down. No one angles down. So after this, we will take a replay of what happened to Ted Musgrave, and we will look at why Mark Martin got flipped upside down. You see Ricky Craven bringing himself in. Steve Grissom started on the outside of the front row. He's going to finish this day in the 29th position. So let's go ahead and see what happened here to Ted Musgrave to bring out the caution here and to end the Daytona 500 like this because of Derek Cope's mistake. So you see Derek Cope is just very slow. He's a lap car. He has no help. So he goes down and tries to just get in front of Sterling Marlin, cut across his bumper. Now Ward Burton diving. Now you see Ted Musgrave. He is in desperation. If he's held up by Derek Cope, he loses the 500. Cope comes right down on him. They're going to hook together into Marlin, and Musgrave goes right up into the wall. Then Derek Cope has the nerve to finish Ted off. And a great thing, though, with the field being so spread out like that, Ted was able to go down the banking and be able to continue on and not have to go to the infield care center or anything, unlike yesterday in the Busch race. Now we will go ahead and take a look at what happened to Mark Martin, costing him his entire finish to the Daytona 500. If I can find him. I don't think Mark went upside down. He wouldn't finish his race. So coming down pit road, I think he just comes in and he's going to take his regular pit stop. That he will, yes. So he comes on down. You see pit road was pretty busy. A lot of cars were going in and out. There's Jeff Gordon going on by. But Mark is going to go ahead. He's on 2 tires. It takes a bit of time on those 2 tires. But you see, he comes out right when Ricky Craven gets in. Craven misses the pit box, so Craven just throws it in reverse, hits Mark into the wall, and then just flips Mark over on pit road. So the realism in the 1997 Daytona 500 is big. Mark's going to back out right in front of Morgan Shepherd. Wow, nice job, Mark. But that'll be the end of Mark's day after flipping over on pit road. Now we'll go ahead and go back to the end of the race here. Daytona 500. We just have 1 lap to go till Jeff Gordon is officially the 1997 Daytona 500 champion in the 39th running of the Great American Race. Ward Burton and Morgan and Sterling Marlin, if they were able to just stay together, if Ted Musgrave could have caught up and had that a 4-car battle, I think they all would have made a move around Gordon and just put him right to the back, battled it amongst themselves. But Jeff Gordon, the strongest car all weekend long, with the exception of Terry Labonte and Sterling Marlin. Gordon will definitely come home with the victory as long as he does not blow up before the end of this race. You see further back, Jeremy Mayfield, Jeff Burton in 5th, a great run for him. Mike Skinner started on the pole. He was one of the drivers fighting in that front pack. He's going to finish back there in that 6th position. Bobby Hamilton, a great finish for him, especially after what happened to Kyle Petty. He's going to take home a 7th place position. 8th goes to Ted Musgrave after a long, hard-fought battle. Ricky Rudd in 9th. Robbie Gordon back in 10th with Terry Labonte 11th. 12th, Bill Elliott. 13th, Dave Marcus. 14th, Dick Trickle. 15th, Ernie Irvin. 16th, Ricky Craven. 17th, Speed. 18th, Kenny Wallace. 19th, Rick Mast. 20th, Greg Sachs. 21st, Michael Waltrip. 22nd, Morgan Shepherd. 23rd, Loy Allen. And that's all that finish on the lead lap here at Daytona. Jeff Gordon, he just has only about a mile of pacing to go at 70 miles an hour until he wins the Daytona 500 in its 39th running. A great show put on there. He led most of the last laps. Looks like this will be his day to win. So as they come down into turn number 3, after 3 top 3 finishes and 1 DNF in the Daytona 500 the past 4 years, he's finally going to do it. He's going to come home. The Rainbow Warriors are going to be able to celebrate in victory lane today. He just has to make it about another 500 feet coming off of the banking here at Daytona, and down the front straightaway is all he needs to do. Ward Burton back there in 2nd, just hoping maybe something goes wrong with Gordon. Maybe he blows an engine. What kind of finish that would be. But coming through the corner, Jeff Gordon and the Rainbow Warriors are going to be celebrating in Daytona Beach tonight for the 39th running of the Daytona 500 here in 1997. It will be the Rainbow Warriors and Jeff Gordon, the young gun, winning the Daytona 500. And the rest of the field is going to be able to just pace across the line. Another Daytona 500 ends under caution, but it is the young gun Jeff Gordon winning it. A great showing there today, and I thank you all for watching. NASCAR Victory Lane will be up tonight later on, but we say thank you guys for watching the Daytona 500. We'll see you guys next week as we head to Rockingham.